Python or C++? Age-old question, which has been there for decades now. Well, up until I would say since the Python was born, this question came into existence, but very much relevant question. And I'm sure a lot of people must be thinking about this, especially the ones who are thinking about which language should I learn first. My name is Prakash Dahoon, and I have about 7.5 years of experience in financial industry, working on mid-frequency asset management, investment strategies, and cash equities. Today, we're going to talk about these two languages. So which one is important? When is it important? And do you want to learn both? If yes, which order? So number one, if you ask me, first of all, need to figure out where is your target goal. If you're somebody who's targeting data science, if you're somebody who's targeting technology, if you're somebody who's targeting finance, but mid-frequency or low-frequency finance, like macro research, or something that is where the strategies have a holding period of anything beyond a couple of days, Python is the language you want to learn first, right? And however, if you know very clearly you're going to be going and doing something which has to do with low latency systems, very low latency systems, like high frequency finance, where a lot of trades happen in nanoseconds, so latency is very low, then you know the C++ is the language to go. Because C++ and C, by the way, is even faster than C++. But C++ is for sure a language that's going to be tested if you're going to be applying to HFT firms as a quant developer or even as a quant researcher, right? So it's very important and you strengthen your C++ in those cases. And you may want to prioritize learning C++ first then as compared to Python. However, like I talked about Python, there's a wide coverage, wide applications. If you're a data science technology guy or somebody else who just want to get into coding, want to start with their first language, want to do a project, Python is the language. Now, I've worked a lot on Python. I also learned C++ a couple of times, but never had to use it a lot because, of my experience being in the mid-frequency domain, and most of the projects I've also worked have been, even if it were a data science project, they always use Python. In Python also, it's a very big language. What are the few things what are the few libraries that you should definitely pay some attention to in order to, make sure that you are very functional and you can do a lot of things in Python, right? And you might be thinking, now we have cursor and all the code, so why do we need all this stuff? Well, you still need to know, because if they're giving a bunch of output, you still need to review it and understand whether what they're doing is correct or not, okay? Number one in Python, you need to understand is there's some numerical computation libraries like SciPy, they're NumPy. These are the two libraries you need to get your hands on. You need to wrap your heads around that and be comfortable with them. The next is Pandas. Pandas is, like, I would say, one of the most important libraries. So if you want to start with Pandas, that's even a great starting point. Pandas, NumPy, SciPy, right? Must know. Pretty much a heavy lift of data science happens in Pandas, right? But if you're talking about, much faster, more parallelized, or a library that uses a lot of parallel computing, well, Pandas does support some of that. NumPy leverages that as well. But there's another library called Polars that can also be used. I've not worked too much on Polars, but again, something you want to consider if you know that you're going to be using it down the line. But Pandas, NumPy, SciPy, and then there are other libraries like, if you're doing parallel computing, you need to get comfortable with concurrent. If you're thinking about plotting, which is again something which is very much a fundamental part of data science, you got to know matplotlib and some and Seaborn libraries, right? If you're going to be doing something on the sides of dealing with servers, or if you have a cloud server, you're going to be sending some requests and taking get a return from API. Requests library comes very handy, right? And the idea about so these are a bunch of libraries I would definitely think about. For machine learning, sklearn, PyTorch, those are the important packages to work with. And again, when you're trying to learn these libraries, I think the idea is to not just cram all the documentation. That's not the approach. The approach is you check up a project that uses a bunch of that's going to be like either data science or some, let's say, finance project, or even a technology project. And then as you go along, you think about how you can implement this in Python. And naturally, nowadays, you have Google and you have GPT and all that, and Cursor that will help you point you in the right direction, what kind of libraries to use. And then as they're coding up, you can use this. And this is, by the way, this approach is very much valid in today's world, where you have agentic code coding up for you. But you need to know whether they're doing is right or not. So what the approach is, once you see the code, you try to make sure you understand what's happening. So you have documentation, you can have a notebook on the side, or you can try to verify what they're doing is correct or not, right? And how they're implementing the code. So this way you're also upgrading as you go along, right? This was something, where people would, in I would say 3 to 4 years back, would say, it's good to code yourself, but also it's very much important to see how others are coding. And the other part is basically being captured by these agentic models now. So this is, I would say, an approach you want to take if you're beginning to learn Python or C++. Now for C++, again, it's a very interesting language. It's I would say a bit less user-friendly than Python in some senses, but it's a perception question, I would say. Object-oriented programming is applicable to both languages, so it's important to understand how you can apply them and what are the differences between the two languages, right? There are lots of times in the interviews you will be asked questions on core Python language, like for example, what's decorators, what are generators, shallow copy, deep copy, copy by reference, copy by value, and these things again apply to both C++ and Python. And C++, basically, you see something called STL libraries. What they have is basically all the arrays, dynamic arrays, and other algorithms. They are implemented in a more optimized fashion. So it's important to get comfortable with that. And also, by the way, this is something that you can use in preparing for competitive coding, for coding tests, for technology rules, for data science, or even for Quant Research or in finance roles, right? So C++ can be used there. That library is very much important. And if you want to get comfortable, that's also a very good place. You can go to LeetCode or HackerRank and start practicing implementing these questions using C++ and using this STL library. All right, or STLs in per se. All right, so that was a breakdown on C++ versus Python. Again, the broad thing is amongst the two languages, blindly I would say Python is a better language to learn first, and then C++ would be second. But if you know that, hey, you're going to be going in high frequency or very low latency sort of problem area, then C++ and then Python. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video and stay tuned for the next one. Thank you for watching.